Hey fan cubs, another in-between video for you right now. We are currently at VidCon, mostly acting like doofuses, and we're going to do a little Q&A. I asked you guys on Twitter, and I shared some stuff from there, and the comments, and the theme park Discord, which I will link down below. I have questions to answer, and here to help me answer them is Charlie.
Hi.
And Zach.
Hello.
And Dave.
Hi.
And they're all cool people, and I didn't want to leave them out of the video.
Unless, of course, I do this. And then I'm gone.
No, then you're just a disembodied voice. First up comes from the Discord, and it's from Minnesota Maxwell, parentheses, way cool 64. How many episodes do you plan for this series? I don't know.
A lot.
All of them.
I feel like at least 10.
At least 10.
At
Yeah,
least.
that's safe.
That's
a safe bet.
It's a conservative estimate.
Here's another question spinning off of that. How many episodes do you have concrete plans for so far?
At least 10.
Well, there you go.
How many rides are there in the parks?
There you go.
I don't plan how many episodes there are going to be. This isn't a fixed series. It's until I run out.
So it will never be completed. Not as long as there is imagination left in the universe.
Not as long as there is imagination left to rip apart and analyze. From the YouTube comments, this Clark Griswold said, are you planning on talking about when other artists try to twist the art around to have a cynical edge, like Banksys Dismaland?
Boy.
I touched on it in the first episode. Because that's kind of the only high art meets Disneyland thing in the mainstream currently. So that's what people think of it, and it a very boring take for me.
I think what they're asking though is if you are at least considering doing like a full video on that.
I might be.
Because, I mean, the idea is, like, they're using Disneyland as their own sort of...
They're critiquing a portion of Disneyland they have a problem with, but...
Well, it's more of the corporation that they're
Yeah.
critiquing as opposed to the park or the medium of the park itself.
It's all about the semiotics and the symbol that Disneyland represents. But when you put that critique or that protest in actual Disneyland, then you're getting into kind of the mud pit of this is actual Disneyland with an actual artistic experience. And like I said in the first video, Duchamp did it better with the hook, just drawing a mustache on the Mona Lisa, but he didn't put it right beside the Mona Lisa. He just expected you to know about it. And there have been other artists that use like the Disney image and warp it around to kind of critique it. But
like
once you
prominently, probably DreamWorks and Shrek.
Yeah, that's a good pop culture one. I've seen like Mark Hamill's son has done some good like Disney critical kind of Rat Fink looking illustrations.
Nice.
And also, other videos on the film Escape from Tomorrow have been made and been made very well by Tony Goldmark and Jenny Nicholson, so I don't know what I have to say about it.
And I know Chris Nebergall's also working on one, which may or may not be out by now.
Going to the questions posed on Twitter, Tony Goldmark asked, where did I put my keys?
I don't know, where did I throw them last?
Up your butt. They're in the butt.
Last I saw them, they were on Goofy Pluto's nose.
Only one of them.
I'm sticking with butt. Just, it doesn't feel like
What is your name?
Just shake a little bit, and you'll find them.
Actually, last time we saw them, he was throwing them off camera at the start of Fantasmic.
That's right.
That was, yes, the chronological.
There, I managed to plug one of my videos.
Yay!
Hooray.
I like this one. This is one of the reasons I wanted all of you. Mikey Eddie asks, Take Monstars have returned to Earth and Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes are unavailable. Which 5 Disney animated characters are your basketball team?
Well, the Goofy has the experience.
Goofy has the height.
Yeah.
But he's also done like all those, sports.
All the how-to sports shorts.
Exactly. Oh, yeah,
He's got the experience.
Mm-hmm. I vote Li Shang because he's a leader and he knows how to make plays. And he's very athletic. I also vote Genie because if Space Jam has taught us anything, is that cartoon basketball magic is allowed.
Yep.
Yeah. If that's the case, though, do you also include carpet?
Maybe not carpet.
I don't know if carpet has quite the same versatility.
Yeah.
But
I'm saying if you want someone to get you some slam dunks.
Yeah.
Well, you need a Shaq for that, and I think the best Shaq in the Disney animated canon is Willie the Giant from Mickey's Jack and the Beanstalk.
I'm sorry. Well, if we're talking giants, how about the Iron Giant?
He's not
that's
Disney.
not a Disney character.
Oh, so okay, we're only sticking
Warner
specifically
Brothers.
Disney.
It's specifically Disney.
It's a Brad Bird character.
Disney animated characters.
Actually, Elastigirl.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Okay, there's our
In fact,
5.
why not just all the Incredibles? Just take it to Dash and then just have Dash pass it to Mrs. Incredible and just dunk it in.
Well, because one of them
Child
is a
labor
baby.
laws.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Goofy.
So you dunk Jack in.
Jack shape.
This isn't Road to El Dorado. We can't disguise characters as the ball. So we got Shang as team captain. Willie is our tank. Goofy's the experienced one and the gangly one. Elastigirl is our
Lola.
stretchy Lola.
Stretchy Lola.
Calm down, boys.
Well,
and the genie's our magic wild card.
She's our Lola / our Michael from the last scene of the game in the movie.
There you go.
Yeah.
Monstars don't have a chance. Okay.
High hit 'em, high hit 'em, high hit 'em, high.
Hit 'em low, hit 'em low, hit 'em low, hit 'em low.
Also, the team owner for the Disney side is Phil from Hercules, just so we've got dueling Danny DeVito's
He's the coach.
Wait, just so we've got Danny DeVito's hitting
He's
their
got to
teams
be the
against each
coach,
other.
man.
Yeah.
At Avens Nina, I'm just hoping you link Disneyland to aestheticism as a legitimate artistic movement. Like, my art theory knowledge is shaky at best, but from what I do know, that seems like the movement Disneyland is closest to. Beauty for the sake of beauty, art's purpose should be to bring happiness. It's been a while since I studied aestheticism as a movement. But that's kind of the purpose of Disneyland, but it's also a very capitalistic purpose. And it's also has a very specific brand recognition purpose. Like, everything in Disney carries that Disney style in a way you wouldn't see in, say, Knott's or Universal. It's hard to describe anything in Disneyland as just one movement. You kind of have to pick apart the influences and see just where the spiderwebs lead back to. But that is definitely probably a movement I'm going to cover.
I agree.
What the smart person said.
Thank you. At Cherry Fizzy. Ooh, book recommendations for art history and theory. If you want anything like academic about theme parks, this is your guy right here. Theme Park Design and the Art of the Themed Entertainment by David Younger. It's written like a textbook, so it's kind of dry and it's got lots of diagrams, but is like one of the only things I've seen out there that kind of covers this as an academic topic. And it's very fascinating.
It's got like a foreword by
It's got a foreword by Tony Baxter and an afterword by Joe Rohde, who are hotshot Imagineers.
Joe Rohde is Ear Keys, for those of you who follow us in our circle.
I'll put up pictures.
I noticed that she specifically phrases it as art history and theory. Do you have any
Yes.
ones that maybe not theme park specific?
I'm getting to that. Art history. I've forgotten what my art history textbook's title was because I can't find them. I'm fairly certain that they're still in my apartment because they had water damage from when my dorm flooded and I couldn't sell them back. So
if we find them,
I will tweet out the title or put them on screen if this isn't out yet. But good college textbooks that just an overview of the history of art. Make sure it's intersectional in the world. It doesn't just focus on Western art history if you just want an overview of the history of art. As for art theory, big influence is Travels in Hyperreality by Umberto Eco.
Yep.
Excellent video on the subject by Callahan here. He actually recommended that to me when I started researching this. And it's this great book by this classical philosopher and historian just going to kitschy stuff in Southern California, including Knott's Berry Farm, including Disneyland, and he's like, this is real America. It's not the cultured America we like to think about. I took a picture of my art theory shelf at home. So that's why I named my phone. My main art theory book in college that I still use right now is Art in Theory, 1900 to 2000 by Harrison and Wood.
The 9th edition.
And that 1900 is BC, because one of the first things we read about is Aristotle and Plato is a dick. But you had to learn about Platonic ideals and Platonic theory. So it's all these essays and writings by different artists and philosophers over the years about their thoughts on aesthetics and the arts.
From Bright_Eyes505, what do you consider the most artistically creative but underappreciated Disney creations? Parenthetical, films, park areas, or rides, etc. ?
What do you think?
I mean, in terms of underappreciated, I would go with over in Florida, Mickey's PhilharMagic. Yeah, it's a typical 3D show, but it incorporates things that you wouldn't normally... I don't know. It's like taking the nighttime spectacle of Fantasmic or World of Color and just putting it in a theater.
For me, and I'm actually working on a video about this probably won't be out till like next year because I'm trying to find the right way to go about it. But the most artistically underappreciated, I think, is actually Space Mountain. It's appreciated as a ride, but as I think as a piece of artistry, even if unintentional, I've got thoughts on that, and that'll be a video I'm working on though. So there you go.
Yay! Coming soon.
Coming eventually. I don't want to say soon because I could be sued for false advertisement.
Well, coming soon is a blanket statement for eventually.
Coming before I die.
Maybe.
Dave?
Well, on that same token, for like artistic underappreciation, I go into this in a video that's coming soon. But I think fans don't appreciate the castle here in California the way they should, because they just focus on how it's smaller than the one in Florida, but I think that serves it because you don't see it until you cross into its sightline, and the castle is actually revealed to you as you approach it, unlike in Florida where you can see the castle from the parking lot.
I think that is a very valid statement. I agree with you on that.
I think you can even see it from Everest. Can't you?
I think if you turn your head the right way, but it's...
Oh, no. Maybe not Everest, because I know Everest is like closer to Hollywood Studios and Epcot than it is Magic Kingdom, which is all the way toward the north of the property.
You can definitely see Tower of Terror and Spaceship Earth from Everest.
Yeah.
I think there's something special about how you don't see the castle in California until you've already left today and entered the world of yesterday, tomorrow, and fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Can't even see it from Harbor.
I think there are a lot of things that are artistically underappreciated in the parks. Mainly, It's a Small World is a perfect example of a fugue. It's perfect, like, from a musical theory standpoint, and I stand by this. I also stand by the aesthetics, because it's Mary Blair meets Fauvism. I am a Small World stan. Yes, I cried the first 5 times I was on it. It moved me.
I do think it's interesting that you are, at least notably to me, that you are as into Small World as you are, while also disliking Somewhere Out There when sung by a child. So it just depends on how many children there are that you seem to like a song.
I like good choral work in any of its forms. Well, that child is like not supposed to sound vocally pleasant. It's supposed to sound like a little kid singing themselves to sleep. It's a Small World is like a child's choir.
Mm-hmm.
They're taught how to sing.
Oh, I just thought it was a funny observation. I wasn't criticizing you.
I know. But also something that I was talking about recently that I think is underappreciated is just how visually evocative the film Dumbo is. Like, we say it's a good film, but we don't think about, like, how much just kind of impressionistic surrealness and just visual punch the film actually has. As I was watching clips, because of the remake, I was watching clips of the original, and I watched the Roustabout song where they're setting up the circus, and that scared me more than Pink Elephants as a kid. Because it was weird, and there was a thunderstorm, and none of the people had faces, and that's a little problematic, but like, I didn't know what was going on. It was just kind of like watching the machinery in Metropolis, so...
Yeah.
And it was just like, ominously, the big tent goes up, as this bass choir fades into the distance, and that was just so weird to me. And just every visual in that film is purposely for maximum visual impact, and you can just tell, this is the person who would later make Fantasia. This is the studio that would later do that. So I think Dumbo needs more love visually, especially. At Mickey Shy 12, how do you think Mary Blair has influenced modern art? A lot.
Like...
It's a simple style. It's a style that works with childlike things. And it's also very evocative of mid-century kind of modernistic design. So it works really well when you're turning things down into very simple shapes. So I think whenever they go back to redesigning things in the park, they come back to that kind of simple modernist style.
I would say, like, if you squint and look at the new Mickey shorts, you can see, like, a little bit of Mary Blair inspiration.
I would say in the backgrounds, definitely.
Yeah.
Because she used that kind of gradient, almost UPA, but more luscious. At Jacob Martin, have you ever researched the failure vortex known as Australian theme parks, where children survived African lion safari on account of our gun control laws being legislated just after its animals escaped and ate dogs? No, but that sounds like a fun story.
Okay.
That's about as much research as we needed to do right there.
That's... Everything is trying to kill you in Australia, including the theme parks.
But
Makes
see,
sense.
when the pirates break down, the pirates do eat the tourists, mate.
Well, because they were the convicts that were sent there originally.
Shrimp on the Barbie and Crocodile Hunter.
That's racist.
Excuse
I can Australian.
him.
You racist mother...
At Egregious Knives. Nice name, by the way. Do you have a pick for most underrated Disney animator/artist? There's quite a few to choose from, although I'll admit most people probably couldn't name one Disney artist besides Walt.
Mark Hen.
Mark Hen?
Yeah,
What-
maybe.
What did he do?
Well, he got Uncle Joey's coffee in the Full House video, or the Full House episode.
But for the camera, what animating stuff did he do?
I don't remember.
Then he's kind of underestimated by you, too.
That's the thing, is I can't think of anybody that I don't feel like other people wouldn't know.
Yeah, the problem is it's all like, you know, like Glenn Keane's not underrated.
Pete
Yeah.
Doctor isn't underrated.
Yeah,
I can
Andreas
tell you-
Deja isn't underrated. Like, if I know their names, they're probably not
Yeah.
underrated.
Yeah, so it's complicated because you want to be like, I don't know how many people do know everybody's names, but at the same time, though, like, if you even care, like, half an inch, you know, like, so many names already.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about two young upstarts named Frank and Ollie.
I would tell you about these underground folks called Muska and Clemens. They made a little fancy children's picture known as
Treasure Planet.
known as Moana.
Mona.
a bright young lad named Iwerks.
He made a balloon thing.
I think Bruce Smith needs more love. Basically, anyone who's not a white man
Yeah, let's go with
in the
that.
Disney history.
Yeah.
Because guess what? One of the greatest background artists in the Disney Golden Age was Japanese American man whose name escapes me, and I'll put it up here. But thank him for Bambi, okay? Alice Davis.
There you go.
Oh, that works.
Marc and Alice Davis met while doing either, I forget if it was film or park stuff for Walt, but she costumed all the dolls in Small World. She feathered all the birds in the tiki room. Mama was a wizard with fabric and feathers. She deserves more love on her own, apart from Marc.
And if I recall correctly, it may have been someone else, but I think Alice Davis was the one who told Walt that, like, looked at the Club 33 plans and said, this women's restroom is not big enough.
I don't doubt it.
At FN Lorder, do you ever think that the upcoming Tinkerbell live-action movie will become the starting point for another Disney cinematic universe?
Highly unlikely. Unless they want to do a whole Peter Pan thing.
Yeah.
But that's just called Once Upon a Time.
I mean, a Neverland cinematic universe is...
Besides, they already made all the direct-to-video movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I can't see a way for them to make that work without it just becoming Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
I feel like if Tomorrowland had done better, we would start to see a Disney Parks cinematic universe.
More so than what was attempted under Eisner.
Yeah, well, like, basically what we would see, like, and maybe we'll still see this if the Jungle Cruise movie does well, but...
Yeah, that's
I mean,
still a thing.
I mean, all it really takes is, like, one, the Del Toro Haunted Mansion movie to happen.
Please.
And two, them to just mention that, like... Them to mention the curse is, like, the same type of curse that befell the Black Pearl and boom, connected universe.
Yeah.
And you could keep making pirates movies without a certain pirate that way. You have a new character. Her name is Red. I'm just saying.
You can also...
I mean, it would work too.
She's saying we wants the redhead.
I mean, it works too, especially because, you know...
We want to cast
the house takes place. The house is supposed to be in New Orleans, which is which is right by the Gulf of Mexico.
And New Orleans was a pirate port for a very long time. I'm aware of the lore.
And again, if you go to once again Chris Nevergall's video about the mansion and how one of the theoried backstories for the mansion ties it in with pirates anyway. I talk about Chris's videos a lot because they are very good.
They are very good. You should go subscribe.
At Rosen_Thorn. Which land in Disneyland would you say gives you the most material to work with?
Oh, Adventureland. There's so much wrong with it.
Yeah.
It is a different time, the land. And I would like to go into that, and I will.
And the thing is, like, you know, when they've updated it, they still haven't gotten rid of some of the stuff.
And it has the most, like, original rides from when Walt Disney was alive.
Yeah.
Fantasyland, like, has changed enough. Norland Square has changed. Tomorrowland has changed drastically, but Adventureland is pretty much the same feel that it originally was. And
pretty much its only major addition was the
Indeed.
greatest ride of all time, but...
One of them. At least sixth.
Oh, I'm already linking your videos. You do not have to plug yourself.
Same.
Get in frame. There you go.
Hidden Mickey.
But, yeah, there's so much to go through with that original worldview in Adventureland and all the things it wrought.
Like, you have an entire episode of dedicated to Tiki Room, an entire episode
Spoilers.
dedicated to the Jungle Cruise and
Indy.
And Indy?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about Indy.
Oh yeah, because
Just so I can talk about Indian art.
Yeah.
At Jacob Miller, 033. Outside of Miniland, what is the biggest artistic merit of Legoland? I've never been to Legoland. I only know Legoland from Dave's videos, so I'm gonna ape you, Dave, and say that it's the emphasis on imagination and doing things yourself. Because that's what Dave said.
Yeah, pretty much. I've only been to Legoland, Florida, which is, at least at the time I went, it's one of the lesser Legolands in terms of, like, number of things in it. So, like, in terms of just pure aesthetic beauty, probably its best contribution is just the Cypress Gardens, which are just, natural wonders connected to a Lego park. Yeah, like obviously Miniland is the most impressive achievement in the sense that, the level of detail all built out of Legos is very impressive. But the park's general mission statement of kids building things and, kids playing with Legos, it is probably its most valuable, basically encouraging the artistry in the next generation is probably its best asset.
Rock. And last question at the naughty list, spelled oddly. Are you going to talk about the Art Deco in the Tower of Terror? Yes. Moving on.
So I guess the answer is probably a question that I can think of to expand on that. Do you plan on talking about more things that are no longer there?
If I talk about Tower of Terror, it'll be about the one in Florida.
Okay.
Because I think it is the aesthetically superior one.
Mm-hmm.
And I would rather go to that one, and it still exists.
For now.
I can also talk about the Art Nouveau and Mission Breakout. Because that's a thing.
Honestly, you probably do a whole episode on Mission Breakout, too.
Mm-hmm. And Pulp Sci-Fi, because that's
There's a Mission Breakout too?
Coming soon to Paris.
Mission Breakout Volume 2. Actually, there is a Mission Breakout 2. It's called Monsters After Dark.
Hey-o.
Yeah! Anyway.
Yeah. So that is all the questions we have for today. Did everyone have fun?
Yay!
I have fun too. So we probably do this again at some point. In the meantime...
Next time with air conditioning on.
Please. In the meantime, like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. The Patreon link is in the bottom. Please support, so maybe I can go to Florida and talk about the Tower of Terror and Avatar Land and all that jazz.
You're just progressively trying to block Dave and I out of the video. You asked us to be here.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway.
No, just... Help! Help!
There is no helping you.
So, I'm making this easy on me.
leave room for the children.
Okay. Bye, kids.
Bye, guys.
Bye.